Hey, John here. Here's lick of the day number 68. This is a melodic F Ionian lick. And as usual, you can find a link to the tabs in the description below or by clicking right here on the screen. I'm gonna play it once slowly and then break it down. I'm not gonna play it in time here because the beginning is 16th notes going into 6-note triplets, but I just want to keep everything clear for you. Saying that, let's start here on the 13th fret of the low E string. Right, so this one is based on the F major scale, or Ionian, which is the fancier name for it. So it's just a normal major scale. I heard it in a major context first, but I also like it in the related modes. So if you try it in the Lydian mode, for example, so F major is the same notes as B flat. So if you just put on a drone in the background, I have drone tracks here on my YouTube channel, but you can also find it pretty much anywhere you look. And any low note, but in this case you want the B flat, and if you put that behind it, and you get a completely different sound. Actually, I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna take the lick and then just play it over B flat so you can hear what it sounds like. But it's something you should experiment with yourself. So a good idea would be to take all the notes of the F major scale, so F, G, A, B flat, C, D, and E, and then play the lick over each of them. Some of them will clash, especially E won't sound that great, but the other ones you can tweak some notes here and there and it will fit really well. So give that a try so you can absolutely get more uses out of this than simply seeing it as a major scale type sound. All right, so let's just learn what I'm playing here. So I'm starting here with this F major add 9 type arpeggio. Basically I have 13, 15, 17, and then I go up to the 30 on the 14th fret, up to the 4th, and I'm alternate picking this, but you can use hybrid picking, sweep picking, whatever you want. But I turned out that I used alternate picking for this first part. So start with a downstroke. So I have that first, and then we go up to the root here on the 18th fret of the B string. Then I go back here to C. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And the last part here is basically 14, 15, 13, 17, and then up to 20. Again, so 13, 15, 17, 14, 15, 18, 17, 15, 14, 15, 13, 17, 20. And then I just slide down, and rhythmically this is 16th notes. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And this note is a quarter note. So I slide it down and then slide back up again, but it's not really that kind of thing. I slid down, and then when I get back, I'm gonna do the 16-note triplet descending run. And this run you've seen before. It's this, standard pentatonic thing. If we go to like an E minor pentatonic scale and do the, so that kind of deal. So we're going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes, going back up to the previous string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes, go back to the previous string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then end on the same note on the same string rather. And we just adapt that to this, it's basically a D minor pentatonic position with the root on the A string. So if you know this one, and then landing here, but I'm not playing this note. Instead I'm going straight to the root note here of F, and then add this note here. So I like that because half steps sound melodic most of the time. So, and I said D minor here, and I think most of you can relate to that easier. But D minor is part of F major anyways. It's the same notes, but again, very important to see the distinction that since it's played over an F, your ear's not going to hear D minor, it's going to hear F major. And the notes in relation to F major here would be the 5th, the 3rd, the root, the 7th, the 6th, the 5th, the 3rd, the 2nd, the root, the 6th, and the 5th. So that's very important to know, because I got a comment on yesterday's lick where I started here. And Joe said, is this a Mixolydian lick? But I can see where he thought that, because a lot of people view the modes as a fingering, and the lowest note of each, 3-note per string scale, wherever that falls in the major scale context, that's what they would call that fingering. And while there's nothing wrong with that, it's not really helpful in the long run, because it all depends on what note in each of these 7 shapes, 7 3-note per string shapes, that you see as the root. Because if I play this shape and I see this note as a root, then it would be a Mixolydian shape, because then I would have the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the flat 7, and the root. But if I see it as this note as the root, then it becomes a natural minor lick or scale, because then we're gonna relate all the notes to this note. So I'm simply starting the flat 7, root, 2nd, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and then the root again. I don't intend this to be a theory lesson, but I think it's very important to look at the context. And the context is whatever you're playing it over. So you can have any scale, and then it's still going to be the bass note that decides what key you're in, especially if it's just like a low ringing drone and there's no progression to the actual drone. Because that also changes things, but I don't want to confuse you guys here. But basically, it's a good idea to learn all the 7 shapes of the major scale and do the same for the harmonic minor, melodic minor, and all that stuff, but also realize that any of those 7 scale shapes can be any position in any of those related modes. So there's really no Lydian scale shape per se, because any of the seven available shapes can be a Lydian shape. Just means that the root is going to be somewhere else. All right, practice-wise, most of you might have a bigger problem with the initial thing here. Even though it's not very fast, it's quite tricky right-hand wise, because you have a lot of 1-note per string type picking and then going back and forth and all kinds of different things. But if you break it down into groups of 4, I think it's the easiest way to do it. And so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So 4 plus 1, because you want to start on the beat and end on the beat, so you can work on that. And then you start on the note that you ended on. And then when you connect them, so that should be fairly easy then if you just work on it that way and make sure that you put in more time on the actual tricky part. And if you find that this thing is tricky, it's a good idea to make that into an exercise, and you can basically just go back the same when you came and do that as a repeated pattern. So just work that up and down the fretboard, and that's a really good picking thing. And for the descending sequence here, you can work on the exact lick as it is and just move it from here, where you can see out of view here, but I would do it slower than that, so you really have full control. And another thing you could do is to take these, what I call the dummy fingerings, and when it comes to 2 notes per string, you actually have 6 variations. So you can go 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4. So this is gonna sound like crap, but it's a really good thing to work on for your technique, because you're actually gonna use all your fingers. So 1, 2 would sound like this. 1, 3. 1, 4, 2, 3, And you see, instead of moving a whole step, I always move a half step when I do these kind of exercises. 2-4 and 3-4. And you can then move that up a half step and do it again. So you get a lot of reps moving up the fretboard, which is the point. All right, that's it for this one. If you have any questions, just post them below. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed this one and see you in the next one.